Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. We have a few folks still joining, but let me begin just by making sure everyone here knows how to use this webinar format. So I'm going to spend about 20 or 30 minutes talking to you about National Math Stars, who we are, what we do, and how your child can become involved. Along the way, please click the Q&A button down at the bottom of your screen and ask any questions that you have in the chat. My goal will be to get through all of those questions live during this webinar. So at any point while I'm speaking, please type a question into the chat. There are no bad questions, and I encourage you to ask anything and everything on your mind. So for those of you who just joined, once again, you're going to click that Q&A button at the bottom if you have any questions you'd like to ask during this call, and I will either be able to address them in the moment or at a natural break during the presentation. So let's go ahead and get started. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Alex. You can see me on the right-hand side of your screen, and I am the head of partnerships here at National Math Stars. My background is as a fifth grade math and science teacher before leading curriculum development in the education tech space, and now pivoting over to my work here at National Math Stars. I included the two other members of our leadership team here because I really wanted to emphasize that National Math Stars is an education nonprofit, and we are a team of educators. All of us bring a background of working in education and in math education, and this is core and central to everything we do. We care deeply about supporting students, serving students, and helping students grow to the best of their ability, and that's why we're so excited about the work that's happening here at National Math Stars. So what is National Math Stars? Well, for those of you who have not heard of us or don't know much of us yet, we are a nonprofit, a charitable organization, and our mission is to ensure mathematically extraordinary students coming from all communities have the resources they need to reach the frontiers of math and science. So this is the mission that motivates us each and every day. And the way that we pursue this mission is by running a free support program. We look for and find extraordinarily talented second and third grade mathematicians. And then over the next 10 years, through the remainder of their K-12 career, we support both them and their families with more than $100,000 in resources and support to help activate all of the STEM enrichment ecosystem so that these brilliant young students can develop their talents to the furthest. Our hope is by identifying and finding extraordinary talent at a young age and supporting them over the long run, we can help more children pursue their passions and loves and grow up to do incredible things. Now, this is not a hypothetical idea. This is work that our team is doing each and every day already. And so I wanted to start off by highlighting our cohort of 61 National Math Stars that we accepted in 2024. You can see them all here on the screen. Last year in 2024, all of our students came from Texas. This was the region we launched in, and we're excited to have since expanded to serve more states across the country and plan to accept 100 National Math Stars from all of the states we're serving into our 2025 cohort this year. Now, my guess is most of you are on this call because your child was nominated or you made the decision to apply for National Math Stars on your own. If your child was nominated, this typically happens from a school or district partnering with us. We partner with hundreds of schools and districts across the country to nominate students who scored in the top 2% among their classmates on a recent math exam. This could be a statewide exam, or this could be an exam distributed by the school. We work with schools to pass out an application letter and gold medal that your child brought home. And in that letter, there were instructions for how to apply and to open up this opportunity. Now, I'm sure many of you just heard about us online, or you heard about us through a friend and perhaps have made the decision to apply on your own. Let me emphasize that that is okay too. And whether or not your child was nominated by their school, we encourage you to apply if you feel they have extraordinary math ability and would benefit from extra resources and support. Now, there are three words we use to talk about students in our program. Those are nominee, finalist, and star. And so let me describe those now and talk a bit about the timeline and what they each mean. So students that are nominees, these are students that schools or districts have identified, as I mentioned, in the top 2% among their peers. And these are students who go home with that award medal and nomination letter. Those students are invited to apply for a full program and take the initial admissions exam that we offer. So the first stage, and where any of you who've made the decision to apply already are, is in this bucket of being a National Math Star nominee. Now, whether you continue on from this process or whether your journey stops here, we hope that both you and your child feel incredibly proud for being a National Math Star nominee. Scoring in the top 2% is an incredible achievement. And we hope that this really helps your child feel empowered and excited about how many possibilities lie ahead of them in the science, technology, engineering, and math fields. Now, the second term that we have are National Math Stars finalists. This year, we are working across two regions, Texas and the Midwest. We plan to select 200 National Math Star finalists from each region. These students will be invited to continue in our process, which will include interviews with our team and additional exams to understand their math ability. And all of this information will come together to help us select our ultimate class of National Math Stars. We call these students stars because they represent the pinnacle of math achievement that we're able to find. And we plan to accept about 50 National Math Stars from each of the regions that I mentioned, Texas and the Midwest. Those stars are the ones who will get access to our $100,000 or more support program, 10 years of resources, and an exclusive lifelong community. But let me again reiterate that no matter where you get on this journey, any of you who are National Math Star nominees, we hope you feel incredibly proud, and we hope that you congratulate your child this evening for the great work that they're already doing. Now, I know many of you are here to get the details about the process, and so hopefully this slide helps you with some of that. On the right-hand side, you can see the key dates to keep in mind for this summer. Let's start right at the top with what I believe to be the most important date, and that is our application due date. So if your child brought home a letter, or if you are considering applying but have not yet applied yet, please set a calendar reminder and make sure you do by the end of day on June 15th. That is the last opportunity for you to apply for a 2025 cohort. Following that deadline, we will email all of you with a link for your child to complete our National Math Stars admissions exam. This is an online exam. It is completed at home, so you don't need to travel anywhere for it. It is untimed and can even be completed in multiple sittings. It consists of 30 questions and will be used to help us select the finalists for our program. You'll have until June 30th to complete that exam. Then our team will take about a week to analyze the results and select our finalists. And finalists will be notified July 7th. If your child is selected as a finalist, there will be some additional screening steps. Namely, we want to interview you as parents, and we also want to interview your child as a mathematician. These will take place over Zoom, so again, travel is not necessary. And we'll administer one last virtual exam called the COGAT to help us make sure we really understand who your child is as a mathematical thinker. All of this information will come together in August to help us select the 50 students approximately from each region that we'll be accepting into our 2025 cohort. I'm going to pause on this screen for a moment. Thank you to those of you already typing questions into the chat. And I'll just touch on a couple of those now. If you just joined and you want to ask a question, remember that you can do that by clicking the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. So a couple questions I'll get through right now. How many questions will there be on that first math assessment in June, and is there any time limit? There will be 30 questions on that exam, and there is no time limit. You can spend 1 to 2 hours, which is what we consider normal, but if your child needs more time or less time, that's fine as well. They can even complete it in multiple sittings if you'd like to break it up into some 20 or 30-minute chunks. Uh, this assessment is not proctored. However, we do have anti-cheating mechanisms in place, and this is why we have a proctored final exam for any students who move forward into the finalist stage. Oh, I have one person telling me that the slide is getting cut off from left to right. My apologies. If you are noticing that too, please comment in the Q&A chat so I can stop sharing and reshare. Otherwise, I encourage you to make sure you've closed other windows, extended this screen as large as it can be so that we can make sure nothing's getting cut off. All right, we have a lot of questions coming in. Thank you for those. I'm actually going to put a pause right now and we'll loop back to some of these questions a little bit later, because what I want to start talking about is what do we do? I've talked about this elaborate admissions process. Why should you go through this? What makes our program so special? And there's three things that we think really set National Math Stars apart from any other organizations you might find. First, we start young. There are not many organizations dedicated to second and third graders, but we feel this is incredibly important. First, it gives us 10 years, a really long time to work with you and your child and really change their trajectory. It also allows us to identify students before access to opportunity has skewed the results of who is top performing and who isn't. So we feel we get a better look at who has the great potential. The second thing we do is being highly selective. We have many students apply for our program, and we're really looking only for those who show true 1 in 1,000 levels of math ability. The reason we're so selective is it allows us to accomplish bullet point number 3 of investing heavily. We really believe that investing in some of the brightest young children across this country is one of the best investments we can make. And so we don't want to do a little bit here and a little bit there. We want to really make sure for every student in our program that all of the doors and all of the STEM enrichment ecosystem is activated to help them develop their talents. This is a graphical representation of how we think about our work. Most people think about growing up as a mathematician or a STEM professional as starting in elementary school, going into middle school, doing well in middle school, going to high school, doing well in high school, getting to college. But the reality is, for those who are really pushing the boundaries and reaching the frontiers, they are doing work that expands far beyond the school day. Perhaps they're getting access to a personal math tutor. Perhaps they're pursuing advanced coursework beyond what their school can offer, learning other relevant skills like computer programming or robotics, wherever their interests take them. As they get older, starting to compete in contests or competitions, be it the AMC 8 exam or your local science fair. And as students get into high school and college, they're pursuing real research and internship opportunities, exposing them to those who are already on the pathways to the frontiers of STEM themselves. We see ourselves at National Math Stars as these yellow bars. We want to identify extraordinary young talent and provide them all of these opportunities beyond the school day to develop and grow their interests. And how we do that breaks into 4 buckets: math development, financial support, supportive community, and family advising. So let me break those down one by one. We're going to start off with math development. We offer free math coaching, access to advanced coursework, and fully paid for STEM summer camp opportunities. Math mentoring is this really fun opportunity for students, usually in a group of 2 or 3 of them at a time, to work virtually with a math mentor. These are typically graduate level math students or folks working professionally in the math field. And these are quite unstructured. We believe in creating space for your child to bring their interests to the table and for these sessions to mold around what your child is interested in learning more about, whether that's chess strategy, computer coding, or map shading, whatever it might be. And I won't play this video for time now, but I'll make sure to share it out later. If you'd like to watch it, you can also find it on our YouTube channel. The second thing we provide is advanced coursework. We know that if your child is at the 99th or the 99.9th percentile, they're probably not receiving enough challenge during the school day. That's why we're committed to covering the cost for you to enroll your child in some form of advanced coursework. Often we work with providers like Art of Problem Solving who have a range of amazing coursework, but we've also worked with folks in the Russian School of Math, GeoMath, Johns Hopkins, Art of Physics, and more. And lastly is summer camp. We as parents know it's not just about building and growing smart children. It's about helping children find friends and community who think and are interested in things like them. That's why we believe summertime and summer camps are such a central part of our program. Every year, we would work with you to identify a STEM summer camp that fits your family and your child's needs, whether that's a local day camp near you or a multi-week sleepaway camp 2 states over. We will fully cover the cost every single year for your child to be able to attend at least one STEM summer camp. Here on the screen, you can see Epsilon Camp, which is a camp for young, profoundly gifted math students. We have Math in the Mountains, held in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, which blends advanced math and outdoor recreation. And of course, Johns Hopkins over on the East Coast at Johns Hopkins University, a chance for students to work on advanced concepts as well. Now, the second tier of support in our program is financial support. We get it. Things are expensive these days, and sometimes money can be a barrier for your child accessing the opportunities that they want. That's why we provide every accepted family with $3,000 per year to cover any STEM enrichment activities. Those can include things like monthly subscriptions to a hack pack or robotics kit, coding classes and fees, getting a 3D printer, taking more science courses, attending a Rubik's Cube competition. The list goes on and on and on. Our hope is that these funds are flexible, that they're built to react to what your child is interested in, and to help take that financial bite off you so that one's family's income does not predict what opportunities their child is able to access. Third bucket I want to talk about, supportive community. Before we launched National Math Stars, we looked at the research and talked to many families supporting advanced students. And one of the things we heard is loneliness is a key challenge. For those of you who live in rural areas or in smaller school districts, your child might be the only person in their school or perhaps their entire district that is this far ahead. And that can be very isolating and difficult. This is why we recruit cohorts of students at a time and bring those students together virtually as well as in person so they have a chance to bond, to become friends, and to become part of a community of fellow extraordinary mathematicians that can support each other, but also push each other over the 10 years that they're in this program together. Here are 4 photos from last October down in Houston, Texas, where we brought all of our newly accepted students together as well as their families for a welcome weekend. This is something we do for newly accepted students every year, and it's a chance for the entire cohort to gather, fully sponsored by us, to become friends, to play with numbers, to explore shapes, and share this love of math with other folks that they may not have thought existed before. And the last bucket I'm going to touch on for now is family advising. So every family in our program is paired with an advisor. We have Zach here on the left and B here in the middle. Each advisor works with a small cohort of just about 30 or so families, and that means they have a lot of capacity to act as a go-to resource for any and everything you might need. Whether that's talking through goals or learning plans, whether that's thinking through how to talk to your school or district about subject or grade level acceleration, whether that's help thinking about what the right middle school or high school for your child to look at is, whether that's figuring out what good extracurricular or summer camp opportunities exist near you. All of these are on the table. This is why we have a team of trained family advisors and experts to act as a go-to resource for you, because we know supporting young students is as much about working with you as parents as it is them as children. And so those 4 categories come together to form the backbone of National Math Stars. And that really brings me to the end of the content I wanted to cover today. Now, I see a lot of people have asked questions in the chat, so I'm going to go through these one by one. Please continue to ask if you have additional questions you'd like to know more about, and I will do my best to get them. So the first question I see asks, my son was nominated by his teacher, but not by his school. Will he still receive an award, medal, and letter? That is a great question to actually ask his teacher. I think it depends on the circumstance there. If they don't have one and would like one, please reach out to us at this email on the screen, admissions@nationalmathstars.org. Just let us know where you'd like us to send one, and we can get an award medal shipped your way. Not a problem. The next question I'm going through asks, what kinds of resources can my child use during the screening or during those admissions exams? In general, we try and limit all materials. So paper and pencil, of course, water, and that's generally it. So no other resources needed. Yep. Next question asks, is there any previous year practice test? No. We do not release any of our year's admissions exams just to ensure a level playing field, and we can't provide any guidance on specific question types or what we're looking for on the exam. We want to make sure all applicants come in with a level playing field. The next question I see asks, if my child doesn't make it as a star in second grade, can they reapply when they're in third grade? Absolutely. So your child can apply as long as they are within the age eligibility, which is second or third grade. And there's also kind of date of birth brackets there. But if they're a second grader now, they'll absolutely be eligible again next year. I have a question. How to select the date for the admissions exam? Great question. There are no designated testing slots for the initial exam. It is free for you to choose when you would like to complete it. The way this will work is on June 16th, you will get an email from me, which will include a link to the exam and your login credentials that you'll use. You then have 2 weeks, so all the way until June 30th, to get the exam completed. And you can do that at any point during that window. So that could be any time, as long as you need. We want it to stay maximally flexible. And I actually believe that answer touches on this next question. Can you complete the exam in more than one day? Yep. If your child does better doing 30 minutes a day for 2 or 3 days, that's absolutely fine. No problem for us. Next question I'm reading says, besides brilliant.com, are there any other websites or activities that kiddos can use to help them prepare? First of all, thank you for mentioning brilliant.com, maybe .org, I don't actually remember, but we are able to offer you free access. You should have in your application confirmation email after you applied, found a link for that. And so if you're looking to access Brilliant and haven't found it yet, go back to that first email you received from me right when you applied, and you'll find a link to get free Brilliant access. Beyond that, we don't recommend any specific resources or preparation beyond just having fun, trying your best. I think whatever you're doing with your children already to support their growth is clearly working, and so we encourage you to just keep it up. Next question asks, will the recording of this session and slides be shared? Yes, probably tomorrow afternoon, I will get this uploaded onto our YouTube channel. That's National Math Stars on YouTube. And you can find the full replay of that on our YouTube channel. If you'd like a copy of the slide deck, feel free to send me an email, and I'm happy to share it out at the email on the screen. Next question I see asks, what type of questions are on the exam? Can students use a calculator? Is it ability type of testing instead of an achievement type of exam? So I can't provide exact specifics on what our question types on the exam are. All I can say is that we try not to include much formal mathematics. We're really looking for a student's aptitude or potential in math, and we assess this through a range of puzzles and reasoning challenges. it doesn't look like a traditional math exam that you might get in school. It's going to look quite a bit different. So no calculators needed. And if there is a calculator needed, it will be embedded within the testing platform. Thank you for all these questions, by the way. I see I'm keeping up to the best that I can. Keep them coming, though. Next question asks, is acceptance is basically is income a factor in acceptance in addition to math ability? And this is a complicated answer. Let me hit it in two parts. In our program, we're looking for students that have two attributes. Attribute one, evidence of extraordinary math ability. I've talked a lot about that one already. I don't need to say more. The second thing we look for is evidence of value add. We try and ask ourselves, what can we enable this child to do that without our support, they wouldn't otherwise be able to do? And income is definitely something we consider in that vein. However, it's only one factor, and there's no hard cutoff. You will hear about some programs that have firm income limits. National Math Stars has no firm limit, and we've accepted students from all ranges of income in the past and continue to do so into the future. So that's answer part one. Answer part two is, in addition to this flagship program I've been talking about, we are very excited this year to be piloting a lighter touch model that will be specifically geared for families who our full program wasn't the right fit based on their level of need, but who still could benefit from additional resources and support. And so regardless of what your personal income situation is, I recommend that you apply so that you get access either to our full flagship program or have the opportunity to be considered for this pilot that will be more need blind. The next question asks, are the assessments reasonable for a second or third grader, or is it like a fifth or sixth grade level where they haven't been taught or seen the material yet? Really good question. The questions we ask are not traditional math questions, so they don't rely on any content that your child might not have learned. And we do that to make sure that preparation will not help you increase your score. That being said, we designed the problems to be very challenging because we know this is an incredible group of young children that we're working with. Everyone who applies for National Math Stars is in the top 2%. And I believe the average score on our admissions exam last year was a 53%. So that gives you a sense. It's hard, but you can rest assured we include 0 problems that require advanced math concepts beyond what a second grader would be exposed to. Next question asks, what would be the syllabus for the admissions and final test and any sample test papers or syllabus guide? Yeah, I can't provide any specific recommendations. We want to keep a level playing field. As I said, these are going to be puzzly and reasoning challenges. They're not going to be formal math concepts like you might see in a traditional classroom. Next question asks, is the exam all multiple choice? That is a good question. No, it is a mixture of, we do a bunch of multiple choice, got some fill in the blanks, some drag and drop, so a whole range of question types. Next question says, when we filled out our application, we were informed our son is eligible. Is that all that's needed, or do we need to do another application? Great question. Adriana, you are all set. If you've received that eligible confirmation email, you are in our system. We have confirmed your eligibility, and you will get an email from me on June 16th with information on how to access the test. So you're all set. Next question again asks multiple choice or question types. So again, it's a range of question types, not just one. Next question I'm reading through asks, you made mention that 200 students will be selected from a particular region. Is that a fixed number or based on performance? It can change. It's a rough guideline. We're going to see how students across our two regions, again, that is Texas and the Midwest, perform. We're not committed to it being an exact 200-200 fit, but we do hope to see robust representation across both regions. So we will have a good number of finalists from both regions. I can't promise that it will be exactly 200 from each. It could be a 250, 150, or a 220, 180. We get a little flexibility there. Next question asks, on what website will the test be on? Uh, we use an existing third-party provider. It's called Pair Assessment, part of the Pair Deck EdTech conglomerate. If you're interested in looking at it, you're welcome to. But pretty intuitive testing portal that your child will likely be familiar with, and we try and make it easy to navigate. Next question asks, if the exam is not proctored, how do you confirm there's no involvement of parents during taking the exams? Of course, we can only do what we're able to do. I think this is a key reason that in our finalist stage, we have a proctored exam as one of the elements. And any evidence that there is a huge discrepancy or clear evidence of parental involvement results in immediate disqualification and ineligibility to reapply in the future. So cheating is something we take seriously, and we take all reasonable measures to ensure that the results students show are their real results. Next question asks, how many questions would there be for the second math assessment? So this is if your child is selected as a finalist. That test is actually a third-party exam. It is called the COGAT exam. And we partner with Northwestern's Center for Talent Development at Northwestern University to administer that virtually in a proctored setting. I believe that test is, I can't recall the exact number of questions, but we administer two sections of the COGAT, the quantitative and nonverbal, and the number of questions you could find for that online. Fantastic. Next question here. How do kids balance school with this program demand? So what I would say on average, students commit between 4 to 7 hours per week on National Math Stars related activities. That largely breaks down to about an hour a week for their math mentoring session, 2 to 3 hours a week for their advanced coursework, perhaps some time for homework or independent projects. And then, of course, if you're using your budget to purchase a robotics kit or a 3D printer, or if there's community events, there might be other opportunities on top of that. But we see 4 to 7 hours per week as kind of the general expectation of what that looks like. I would say to add on top, most of this time takes place outside of the school day. In some cases, we're able to work with your child's school to have them do some of that work during the school day, but that's a case-by-case basis based on your child and the school's kind of willingness to collaborate with us. Next question asks, can a child participate outside of the US? Yes and no. We are only able to accept students who are living in the states that are currently eligible. However, if you have a short trip out of the country to see family, or if you're away for the summer or something like that, that's not a problem at all. We can keep working with you. If you're planning a permanent move outside of the United States and that's imminently on the horizon, let us know. That may mean that you're not eligible. Next question, just asking how to get access to these slides. Yes, please send us an email, admissions@nationalmathstars.org, and the full recording for this video will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, probably by tomorrow afternoon. Next question says, are there any fees at any point during the program? And the flat answer here is no. We are a nonprofit, we are a charity, and we provide 100% of our services free of charge. We will never ask you for money to pay for things at National Math Stars. We're really lucky to have the support of some private foundations who are committed to this mission of supporting math talent development across the US and allow us to provide all of these services free of charge. Next question asks, what type of test results are recommended to submit with the application? Are MAP scores helpful? Two-part answer here. First, uh, if you do not have test scores for your child, please do not stress. This is not a required part of the application. And I will share that only about 10% of applicants even submit any test score as part of their application. So it is not required at all. However, if you do have test scores and would like to submit them, they can be helpful context for us on your child's ability. And something like the NWEA MAP scores are a perfect example. You might also consider COGAT scores, NNAT scores, WISC-5, Renaissance scores, state test exam scores, really any standardized quantitative assessment we'll consider. Next question I see is, what if our school's not a current partner with National Math Stars? I'm a parent who nominated your son. Well, Nancy, thank you for nominating your son. And we are so excited to have him in consideration, regardless of whether or not his school has partnered with us. If you have submitted an application and received an application confirmation email from me, you are in our system and you are all set to go. If you have not received a confirmation email, please just make sure to reach out at the email on the screen and we'll make sure to get you sorted out. I have a question about preparing for the assessment. And again, I encourage you not to spend too much time preparing for the assessment. We don't provide any guidance. And we encourage you not to put undue pressure on your child. This is going to be a very competitive process. We encourage them just to have fun and try their best. And whether they make it as a nominee, a finalist, or all the way to being a star, we hope that you and them feel very proud and that this doesn't become a stressful experience for them. Next question asks, I submitted my application previously without test scores. Do I still need to send test scores in? Two-part answer. First, no, you do not need to send test scores. They are not a required part of admissions at all. But part two, if you have test scores and want to share them, feel free to shoot me an email at the email on the screen, and I can attach them on the back end. Selection criteria. What are the selection criteria for the 50 stars that we'll select from each region? So 50 from both regions, it's going to be 100 or so total in 2025. We're looking for two attributes. We're looking for evidence of extraordinary math ability, and we're looking for value add. What can our program enable this child to do that they're not currently able to do without our support? And so we look at all available information from our interviews, from testing, from your application to kind of assess those factors to the best of our ability and make the decisions. Just closing out some questions about what topics to practice. Again, we don't provide any guidance on how to prepare for the exam. All right, this question says, my son is currently in third grade, but next year will be in fourth grade. Are they still eligible? Yes. We are interested in students who are this current year, so during the 2024 to 2025 school year, in second or third grade. And so your son is absolutely eligible, even though he's starting fourth grade in this upcoming fall. He's in the right age range. And another question asked to clarify, is this only for second and third graders, or can folks reapply even in fourth grade? Our program is only for second or third graders, or this year, students born between June 15th, 2015 and June 15th, 2018. So if they're in fourth grade, but they're young or they skipped a grade level, they may still be eligible, but it's June 15th, 2015 to June 15th, 2018 is our age window for this year. I've answered this one. Next question asks, during the admissions exam, what role can a parent play? For example, vocabulary or math equations. Zero parental involvement is allowed of any type. The only exception is for technical difficulties. So if their computer freezes or they don't know how to log into the portal, you can, of course, help them get logged in. But any attempt to provide any guidance around vocabulary, math, equations, or anything of the support would be an immediate disqualification. Next question says, we are traveling during the screening window, but we'll make sure our daughter is available. How can we communicate to make this happen? We'll be in a different time zone. Yeah, we know a lot of folks are traveling over the summer. That's why we try and keep it maximally flexible. So know that you have at any time during that June 16th to June 30th window, you can get the exam completed. So feel free to do it in the local time zone where you will be. The one thing that I like to mention is if you're traveling to a country with internet restrictions, so in particular, I'm thinking about China, and I'm thinking about other areas where they have internet restrictions in place. Our testing portal does utilize Google services and other services that can be blocked. So we highly recommend making sure that you have a VPN access if you're going to be traveling to a country with internet restrictions. And that touches on the next question. Next question. We're traveling out of the country this summer. Will you entertain the interview and COGAT after July 31st if selected as a finalist? Maybe a day we could flex this, but this is ultimately not something that we can really be flexible with. We're a small team and we're going to be screening thousands of students over the summer, so we can't make kind of individual exceptions as that pushes back the entire cohort from hearing about their eligibility. If you have specific questions regarding your timeline or situation, just send us an email. We'll do our best to accommodate things, but know that we're a small team. We're trying to screen and work with hundreds or thousands of families at a time. And so there's only so much we can do to accommodate different schedules. Next question asks if there's any difference between being in a public school, charter school, or other types of schools. And the answer is no. We currently serve students at public schools, private schools, charter schools, homeschooled, all types of schools. It makes no difference to us. We're committed to serving extraordinary students, regardless of which school they're currently attending. Next question asks, do we consider other factors such as gender, race, region, or family income in the selection process? So we look at things holistically. Again, the characteristic we're trying to measure is value add. This question, what can we enable your child to do that they wouldn't otherwise be able to do? And so things like, does this child live in a rural area where it's hard to access local opportunities? Absolutely is something we consider. Family income and ability to afford opportunities, absolutely something we consider. But know that this is not a rigid checklist where you either get it or you don't. We understand people are complicated, families are unique, and so there's no specific factor that makes or breaks your chances. We're committed to approaching this process holistically and to making sure that we select students with extraordinary math ability where we can add tremendous value. Okay. Next question asks, where's the funding usually coming from for the program? We are really lucky to have support from two primary foundations. These are called Karina Initiatives and the Polynera Fund, who provide the majority of our funding, as well as a group of other funders as well. These are folks who've been working in the math talent development space for many years, and they felt like National Math Stars was a key missing piece of that ecosystem. And so they actually helped to design and launch this program and are our primary funders today. Next question asks if that pilot program I mentioned is a separate application. And so if any of you missed it, we have our flagship program that I've been talking about. This year, based on overwhelming demand, we are going to pilot a lighter touch model that will have a little bit less like financial support and all of that, but will be agnostic to a family's income or level of need. That is not a separate application, exact same application. So just submit the one application on our website and you're in consideration for both. Next question asks, this is a 10-year program. If I am in the selected state currently to qualify, but in the future move to a different state, what happens? The good news, we can continue serving you if down the road you move to another state. If you happen to know that like this fall, you're moving to a state that we're not currently serving, that may mean you're not eligible. But if you know at least for the upcoming year, you're planning to be in one of the states we're serving, then you're definitely eligible to apply. And we'd love to consider you. Next question asks, do students need to attend video during answering the questions? There are no videos on the initial admissions exam. There's actually one video, but it's just kind of a quick 101 that I put together of how the testing portal works. It's the very first page of the test. So that's the only video included. If your child is a finalist and makes it to that proctored section, the proctoring does happen via video, and so you will need some device capable of video calling. Another question about what types of submitted test scores we take and whether cognitive tests like the WISC-5 or LSAT, as well as the NWEA MAP are valuable. And my answer is yes, all three of those are great. I think we hear from a lot of people with NWEA MAP scores. We hear from a lot of people with WISC-5 scores or LSAT scores. If you have them, please share them with us. The more information, the better. But don't worry if you can't find it. It's not a deal breaker. Next question, how many students have been nominated so far in 2025? Let me give you our estimates for where we'll end because we're about 5 weeks away from the close of our application cycle. We're estimating around probably 3,000 to 4,000 nominations in Texas and about 1,000 to 1,500 nominations from across the Midwest. Those numbers are still a little bit flexible, but that's kind of the ballpark of what we're looking at for this year. 3,000 to 4,000 Texas, 1,000 to 1,500 in the Midwest. Next question, if my child does not get selected, are there still resources you can provide to parents who are lost and how to best support their children? Yes. As I mentioned at the start, we're a team of educators, and we are in this work because we care about serving extraordinary students. And so whether or not your child's accepted, we want to do what we can to support you and their continued growth, whether that's connecting you with recommended resources, helping you get some templates for how to talk with your school, or just going through the process and learning more. We hope that this can be valuable. Yes, we're committed to serving you to the best of our ability, whether you are in or out. Next question asks, any point deduction for incorrect questions on the exam? Do we need to worry about testing strategy? You do not need to worry about testing strategy. Your child should just have fun and try their best. Trust us that we bring a lot of expertise in curriculum and assessment development, and we are not interested in measuring testing prep. We are interested in measuring potential and aptitude towards science and mathematics, and we've designed both our scoring and questions to optimize that. All right, I'm seeing 15 questions left. I think I can get through these in the next 10 minutes. So let me rapid fire. If you do have questions, please keep typing them. And I'm just going to keep rolling until we get through these. Do you need to prepare a camera when kids are taking the exam? No, not for the initial exam. Yes, if you make it to the finalist exam. Next question. If I'm a finalist and my child takes the COGAT, what grade level is administered? We administer the COGAT one grade level above the school year your child is entering. So if they're entering 4th grade this upcoming year, we'll give them the 5th grade exam. And we do that to make sure that not everyone gets a perfect score because we've got a lot of really talented kids. Are younger siblings eligible for the program after the older siblings go through? Absolutely. Any student who shows extraordinary math potential and is within the right age ranges and regions we serve is eligible to apply. We can't give them any advantage for having a sibling in the program, but they're absolutely still eligible. Next question says, we'll be gone from June till August on vacation. So there will be steps that need to be completed in that window. Luckily, all of them can be completed remotely. You just need a computer and internet connection. And if you're in a country with internet restrictions, please make sure you have access to a VPN as well. Can homeschool children participate? Yep, not a problem at all. Can we take the test outside the US? Yes, you can. Just make sure you have a VPN if there's going to be internet restrictions in place. I have a kid who's a rising fifth grader. Can they apply, or just second and third graders? Just second or third graders. The age brackets again are June 15th, 2015 to June 15th, 2018. If their birthday falls in that window, they're eligible. If they're a little too old, I am sorry, but we can't accept an application from them this year. Next question, for the Midwest region, are you looking to evenly distribute the number of students admitted across the 5 states, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan? No, we're going to look and see which students optimize extraordinary math ability and value add. We will try to make sure there's some level of representation from all 5 of those states, but we're not going to overfit kind of a perfect 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. This question, how do we apply for that pilot program I was talking about? Same exact application. Just go to nationalmathstars.org/apply, submit an application, and you're in the running. If you've got a new MAP scores, spring MAP scores are now available. Should we email those to you? You're welcome to if the score is like notably different and you feel like it makes a big difference. You're welcome to send them. I can attach them from the back end. If it's like kind of the same story, we don't necessarily need them. As I said, submitted test scores are a fairly minor part of our admissions process. Thank you for thanking me, whoever sent that. Appreciate that. As I mentioned, the initial test can be completed in as many sittings as you need. It does not have to be one sitting. You can take breaks. You can take a couple days in between. As long as it gets completed by that June 30th deadline, you're good to go. And you can study for the test if you want. We've tried to design it to not be receptive to practice so that everyone has a level playing field. But if you want to run through some practice problems with whatever you're doing with your child, of course you can study, but we don't provide any recommendations. If the nominee is reapplying this year, does last year's information play a role in being chosen this year? I would say no. We understand when students are young, a lot changes year to year, and so we're going to approach every applicant with a fresh mind. How many students will be selected into that pilot program? We're estimating around 250 students will be selected for this lighter touch pilot program. So that's roughly what we're thinking today. Can you elaborate more on what types of supports you'd provide through that pilot program? Sure. So on this slide, you can see the broad buckets we're offering. We obviously can't do all of these as we're trying to reduce the kind of per student costs that we incur. So we probably won't be able to provide much financial support. We will focus on still community building. We're going to focus on a lighter touch family advising. So it won't be a dedicated advisor for every student, but there'll be text and phone based support. And then things like coaching, coursework, we're going to try and create scalable solutions that allow as many students as possible to participate in those types of supports. So we're going to try and distill the best of our big model down into a lighter weight model that can be scaled to more students. I think this was a repeat question. I see one. Do we get the exam results afterwards, like how many they got right or wrong? We don't release the individual test questions. However, I will provide a overview of your child's overall score, as well as their breakdown by question type. and an overview of just what the question types were. So you'll be able to see where they were stronger or weaker, but we can't do a full release of each individual question. Next asks, are finalists selected primarily on the basis of the NMS exam score? Yes, that is the primary way. We look at math ability, at least in the first stage. Sometimes submitted test scores can move the needle, but fairly rarely. So it's primarily the NMS exam score, yes. If your child applies this year and is not accepted, if they're in the correct age range, they may still reapply next year. Yep, no problem there. You could apply any year as long as they're in the right age range. This question says, so I have to apply again for the pilot program. Did you say it was the same application? Sorry if there was any confusion here. You only need to submit one application. Please only apply once. Otherwise, we get a lot of duplicates. So one application. If you already applied, you're done. No need to apply twice. Just one application feeds into both programs. We will have one pool of applicants for which we pull students for both programs. Is the final test for finalists also puzzles, etc., or more math-based? The final test is called the COGAT exam. It's administered by Northwestern University Center for Talent Development. If you'd like to research kind of what question types they use, you're welcome to Google. That's the COGAT exam. Next question. If you get accepted into the pilot program, can you reapply for the full program in future years? We haven't really thought about that one, so probably would be my answer. But if we get to that point down the road, of course, let's talk. And we're a small team, but we serve a small-ish number of students, and so we can work with you individually. What was the average score for kids who were selected as finalists after the first round of assessment last year? Ooh, I don't know if I recall the exact numbers for the first exam. What I can tell you among the stars who were ultimately selected in 2024, the average COGAT percentile was above the 99th percentile for all accepted students. Next question. My son was born in May 2018. He is eligible, or did I get it wrong? And he's in first grade. Your son is actually 1 year, or actually like a little bit too young. So next year he'll be eligible, and the year after, but you should hold off on applying this year. He'll be old enough to apply next year's cycle if he's born May 9th, 2018. Can parents observe the test, or do you advise for a child to be alone? You're of course welcome to sit in the same room. I'm not going to tell you how to kind of be in your household when test taking is going on. Just know that absolutely no support on the test is allowed, and any evidence of that would mean being disqualified from the process. So it's your call, but of course you're welcome to be in there if you just want to make sure that they're staying focused or something like that. And Mona, thank you for being here while I answered all of these questions. This has been an absolute blast. And with that, we are right on time. It is 7 p.m. Central Time. So if you have any final questions, I'll give you about 60 seconds or so to type them into the chat. Otherwise, let me say on behalf of our entire team, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for entrusting us with this work of supporting your children. And we are so excited to get to meet many of you in just over a month as we kick off our selection season. If you have more questions beyond what I was able to touch on today, please send me an email. That's admissions@nationalmathstars.org. My name is Alex, and it's been great spending some time with you all here this evening. Thank you, everybody. See, one last question. Any negative marks for wrong answers? No. No negative marks for wrong answers. All right, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and close this webinar. So thank you all. Have a wonderful evening, and I will be in touch in just over a month with access to your admissions exam. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.